What piece of jewelry could transform an entire dynasty's traditions? Queen Elizabeth II's wedding ring became a bridge between generations, connecting Prince Philip's romantic story with the future of the British monarchy. For 76 years, this platinum symbol never left Her Majesty's hand. Behind this simple, precious piece lies an extraordinary story of continuity that forever changed how royal inheritance is understood. The ring, crafted from Princess Alice of Battenberg's tiara, transformed into something greater, a living symbol of Windsor dynasty permanence. Today, this jewelry continues its journey through generations, carrying memories of great love and traditions that shape modern monarchy. However, how exactly this legacy passes forward proves far more touching and meaningful than anyone could imagine. But before we begin, don't forget to share your city in the comments. We're curious where royal luxury enthusiasts live. And if you hit like and subscribe, that becomes the best reward for our small channel. On September the 8th, 2022, the entire world watched Queen Elizabeth II's farewell ceremony. But while millions mourned, a completely different drama unfolded in the shadows. The late Queen's wedding ring vanished from public view. For 76 years, it never left her hand for a single moment. 3 carats at center, 10 satellite diamonds, platinum setting. This jewelry became a symbol of an entire era's faithfulness. And suddenly, complete silence. No official statements, no palace comments. Experts puzzled. Where could one of modernity's most recognizable treasures have gone? Initial assumptions proved naive. Many believed the ring would automatically pass to the new queen consort or future Princess of Wales. Logical, fair, predictable, but royal protocol proved far more complex than first appeared. What looked like a simple family matter became a tangled puzzle of legal nuances and century-old traditions. To understand this ring's true fate, we must return to the very beginning, to the romantic story of 1946, when one smitten prince decided to create jewelry for the ages. Prince Philip faced a delicate problem in summer 1946. How to create a worthy engagement ring for England's future queen when his own fortune remained quite modest. The young naval officer possessed a title, but hardly wealth. The solution came from an unexpected source. Princess Alice of Battenberg, Philip's mother, didn't hesitate to sacrifice her own wedding tiara for her son's happiness. The family treasure she wore on her own wedding day went to jewelers for complete transformation. Masters dismantled the headpiece stone by stone. Each diamond received new destiny. The central 3-carat giant became the composition's heart. 10 smaller stones formed elegant framing. The platinum setting emphasized the design's purity. This ring was created not for a season, but for an entire lifetime. When Prince Philip knelt at Balmoral, Princess Elizabeth accepted his proposal with delight. King George VI blessed the union, never suspecting his daughter wore jewelry that would witness every important moment of her future 76-year reign. The ring's public debut the following summer created genuine sensation. Press admired not only the treasure's beauty, but its touching origin story. Journalists called this ring true love's embodiment. Then something interesting happened. What began as romance gradually transformed into a state symbol whose meaning extended far beyond family relationships. The real puzzle began after Elizabeth II's passing, when the entire world wondered about royal jewelry classification. It turned out that between crown jewels and the monarch's personal collection lay an abyss of legal complexities. State regalia, over 100 items and 23,000 precious stones, belonged to the nation and automatically passed to the throne's heir. Here everything was crystal clear. The king passes away, regalia goes to the new monarch without any doubts or disputes. But the late queen's personal collection, numbering between 300 and 400 unique items, followed completely different laws. These jewels remained private property which Elizabeth II could distribute according to her own will. And here lay the main intrigue. The wedding ring, despite its symbolic significance, technically remained a personal possession. No automatic transfers, no state guarantees, only private testament and the late monarch's wishes. Royal protocol expert Kate Nichols stated the obvious. The public knew far less about private collection distribution than desired. The palace maintained silence, creating grounds for various assumptions. Documents from that time indicated a certain hierarchy existed for distributing personal jewelry, but this process's details remained closely guarded secrets. Here appears a new character in this story, the priority system that determined order when choosing jewelry from the late Queen's personal collection. This invisible hierarchy operated by strictly established rules. First place belonged to Camilla, the Queen consort. Her first choice right logically reflected the reigning monarch's spouse's new status. Camilla was followed by Catherine, Princess of Wales. The future Queen consort received second priority. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, stood third in line, though subsequent events could have altered these plans. Sophie, Countess of Wessex, completed the list of main candidates for royal jewels. However, this orderly system concerned ordinary jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, brooches. The wedding ring stood apart. 76 years on the monarch's hand transformed it into something greater than just precious jewelry. Any royal family member's single appearance wearing Elizabeth II's collection pieces was worth millions of pounds in free publicity. Each appearance became world news, each photograph sparked fashion critics' discussions. Then something unexpected happened. Logical inheritance assumptions proved wrong. The ring didn't go to any of the mentioned candidates. But to understand the truth, we needed to look deeper than formal protocols and logical assumptions. The most likely heir to Elizabeth II's wedding ring became completely different from whom royal court experts and journalists worldwide expected. Princess Anne, the late monarch's only daughter, represented the ideal keeper of the most intimate family relic. This version possessed flawless emotional logic that surpassed any formal protocol considerations. Princess Anne always remained a special child in her mother's eyes. Not the eldest, not the throne's heir, but the only daughter connected to the Queen by special bonds of understanding. Through decades of working together, mother and daughter developed unique relationships based on complete trust and shared views on royal duties. Princess Anne never sought publicity, didn't participate in fashion games, never turned royal events into personal style shows. She simply fulfilled her duty with quiet dignity. Precisely this reputation as someone foreign to showy luxury, but deeply respectful of historical heritage, made her the natural choice for keeping such a delicate family treasure. The wedding ring required not demonstration, but careful preservation. For Princess Anne, her mother's ring would become the third in her personal collection, but each carried completely different emotional weight. The first came from Captain Mark Phillips in 1973, a symbol of young love and hopes for a happy future. The second from Vice Admiral Timothy Lawrence years later, a sign of mature relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. The third ring extended far beyond personal jewelry. This was a bridge between generations, a connecting thread that joined 1946's romantic story with modernity. The maternal inheritance's symbolic meaning couldn't be measured in carats or platinum value. With grown children, Zara Tyndall and Peter Phillips, Princess Anne could view this inheritance as family treasure for future generations, especially considering grandchildren, Mia, Lena, Isla Tyndall, and Savannah, Isla Phillips, who represent the royal family's new wave growing away from attention's center. Records from that time show a surprising detail. Princess Anne always remained outside public disputes about jewels and inheritance. She never demonstrated greed for material values, which only strengthened her mother's trust in her ability to wisely manage family treasures. Then something interesting happened with royal inheritance's very nature. If previously jewels passed according to strict title and position hierarchy, the wedding ring required a completely different approach, based on emotional closeness and personal trust. Documents confirm Princess Anne maintained special relationships with her mother, built not on formal reverence but sincere attachment. They met regularly in private, discussing not only state affairs, but family matters. And here we approach the main discovery. If the ring truly went to Princess Anne, this decision reflected not formal royal protocol hierarchy, but deep family connections and emotional closeness between mother and only daughter. Experts note the symbolic fairness of such choice. Princess Anne sacrificed personal interests for royal duty her entire life, never demanding special attention or privileges. The maternal ring would be worthy reward for decades of devoted service. But the most important lay ahead, the question of what Princess Anne could do with this priceless inheritance, and how her decision might affect future royal family generations. The next possibility leads us in a completely different direction, into Buckingham Palace's underground depths, where modern security technologies combine with centuries-old royal treasure storage traditions. 40 feet beneath British monarch's main residence lies one of the planet's most protected vaults. This underground treasury is surrounded by security systems, about which the palace prefers not to elaborate for obvious secrecy reasons. Multi-layered protection includes both traditional methods, massive steel doors, complex lock systems, and ultra-modern recognition technologies, motion sensors, and climate control. Centuries-old traditions transform this place into a true royal treasure temple, where each item occupies a strictly determined place according to historical significance and usage frequency. Here rest jewels worn once per decade, family treasures awaiting special occasions, and relics too fragile for regular wearing. If Elizabeth II's wedding ring wasn't passed to Princess Anne immediately after the farewell ceremony, it could well have ended up in this underground sanctuary. Such decisions occur regularly in royal practice when particularly significant items' fate requires additional time to consider all possible consequences. Perhaps the late Queen's will executors deemed it necessary to create a pause, allowing family members to finally determine the most suitable destination for the priceless relic. In British monarchy history, such delays occurred repeatedly, especially regarding emotionally meaningful jewelry. Rare tour photographs and archived documents confirm the Buckingham Palace jewelry storage system allows preserving items in ideal condition for decades. Temperature maintains a constant 18 degrees, humidity doesn't exceed 40%, lighting controls with scientific precision. Each piece of jewelry sits in individual cases lined with velvet and equipped with special fastening preventing any damage. The cataloging system allows instantly finding any item among thousands of storage units. Then something philosophically important happens. If the ring truly lies in the underground vault, questions arise about its further fate. Should the great Queen's wedding ring become a museum exhibit accessible only to historians and researchers? Or does its true purpose lie in again adorning a living royal family representative's hand? Experts divided opinions on this delicate question. Some argue the ring already fulfilled its historical mission and deserves honorable rest in palace vault safety. Others insist love symbols should continue serving love, not becoming lifeless artifacts. Documents show precedents in royal history when particularly significant jewelry spent decades in reserve, awaiting suitable moments for returning to active use. St. Edward's crown, for example, leaves the tower only for coronation ceremonies. The key point lies in understanding that the decision about Elizabeth II's wedding ring's fate will determine the tradition of passing the most intimate royal symbols for years and decades ahead. This is precedent that will influence similar relics' inheritance by future monarch generations. Records show even temporary underground vault placement doesn't mean final decision. Royal practice allows reconsidering jewelry status depending on changed circumstances and family needs. And here we approach this version's culmination. If the ring awaits its hour in Buckingham Palace depths, who and when will make the final decision about its further fate? Now, the truth about the legendary ring's most likely future and the role it might play in Windsor dynasty's next generation's lives. Leading royal protocol experts' reflections increasingly turn to one name: Princess Charlotte of Wales, who might become the final link in this family treasure's amazing transmission chain. The 9-year-old great-granddaughter of Elizabeth II embodies the British monarchy's new generation, a generation raised in modernity's spirit, but with deep understanding of historical traditions and responsibility toward ancestral heritage. When her coming-of-age time arrives in 10 to 15 years, followed by a possible engagement, great-grandmother's wedding ring could become the ideal symbol of generational continuity. Imagine the symbolic power when the girl named after great-grandfather Prince Charles wears the ring created from great-great-grandmother Princess Alice of Battenberg's tiara. This connection chain would stretch through almost a century and a half of royal history, uniting Germanic princes' romantic traditions, the British imperial era, and 21st century modern constitutional monarchy. Alternative scenarios also deserve serious royal expert attention. Princes George and Louis, reaching maturity and preparing for their own engagements, could use great-grandmother's family treasure for proposals to future brides who will enter the royal family in a completely different era. The romantic tradition established by Prince Philip in distant 1946 would receive worthy and touching continuation. Each new ring used would add another layer to its historical significance. But this story's most important aspect lies in such continuity's deep philosophical meaning. Modern British monarchy constantly seeks balance between preserving centuries-old traditions and adapting to rapidly changing world requirements. Past symbols shouldn't become museum exhibits. They must find new life in next generation's hands, fill with fresh meanings while remaining carriers of historical memory. Expert analysis shows a surprising detail. Elizabeth II's wedding ring's fate reflects deeper and more fundamental changes in understanding royal inheritance's very nature. The 21st century demands from monarchy not simply history preservation, but its living and organic continuation. Documents confirm that each Windsor dynasty generation found its own way to honor ancestor memory, maintaining living emotional connection with the past through material symbols of eternal human values: love, faithfulness, family devotion. If Princess Charlotte truly becomes the ring's heir, this decision will reflect understanding that female inheritance lines often prove more stable in preserving family traditions. Girls and women historically served as keepers of family relics and the clan's emotional memory. Then something even more significant happens. Modern princes and princesses grow up in a social media world where their every step gets captured by millions of cameras, where any jewelry instantly becomes global attention's object. Using historical rings in such conditions will require special delicacy and wisdom. Whatever fate decides for this amazing piece of jewelry, its story is already forever inscribed in the British Crown's golden pages as a bright example of how deeply personal love between two young people transforms into national symbol, and intimate family relics become bridges between historical eras. Experts unanimously agree on one thing: Elizabeth II's wedding ring will remain an inspiration source and symbol of monarchical tradition continuity, regardless of whether it adorns Princess Charlotte's hand, Princes George or Louis, or finds a completely different fate in the 21st century royal family's plans. Just imagine a simple piece of jewelry from a mother's tiara transformed into heritage that will pass to the great queen's great-grandchildren. Isn't that more beautiful than any intrigue? If such stories of royal dignity inspire you, support the channel with likes and subscriptions. Turn on notifications to be first learning about new stories from British monarchy life. Ahead await even more captivating stories about how simple human feelings become part of world history. Until our next meetings.